Hello and welcome to the Corridor Digital Podcast. Once again, we're back. Niko and I sit down here today with WWE Superstar Xavier Woods, also known as Austin Creed. He's a wonderful person and he is a huge nerd. We had a ton of fun talking about everything from video games to anime to wrestling. And we also talked about more deeper things like how to take control of your own life and the things that he's done that have brought him success in doing just that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy an interesting conversation because it's about to get started here on the Corridor Digital Podcast.
So did you get into Final Fantasy XIV like right when it came out when it was kind of janky, or did you wait for like the patches for them to fix it?
So I wasn't an MMO guy at all. That's pretty much because one of my roommates in college actually dropped out of college our senior year because World of Warcraft consumed him. Like he couldn't do an all things in moderation situation. He cut class, told his teachers that he had pneumonia. His girlfriend broke up with him because he just locked himself in his room and played WoW. And like we couldn't understand it. We just came home one day and there was a note like, "Hey guys, I had to leave because I was like failing out. I was on like academic probation for this." I'm like, "What are you doing? How?" So I was like, I can't do this because I'm very addicted when it comes to certain games and stuff. And so anyway, one of my friends had played 11 and was like, "Oh, this is it." And I'm like, I can't. I have bad memories of MMOs. And then Final Fantasy XIV dropped on PS4. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in a game hole right now. I need to play. And it's like a free 30-day trial. Like, let me just see. And then within like, I don't know, 3 days, I realized that a bunch of people that I knew played, and I was like, oh no. And then it's like, well, here's my $15 a month or whatever it is. And it's been, so since it dropped on PS4, I played. So I guess I played consecutively for maybe a year and a half, and then kind of took a break. And then like some of the expansions came out, and I've just recently in the past like month or so gotten back into it. But it's one of those things, like once you're in, like I've been playing pretty much, I don't know, I've probably given it like 5-6 hours a week. And that's like on top of like all the other stuff that I'm doing. So like I'll take like 2 or 3 nights and be like, okay, not sleeping tonight because I'm playing Final Fantasy. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll be fine.
Like last night.
Yes, 100%. So last night, the Blue Mage stuff dropped. And so I'm doing a lot more stuff on Twitch now. So
what's your Twitch channel? This is your chance to
my
plug
Twitch
it.
channel is twitch.tv/Austin Creed, which is different from my YouTube channel, which is up, down, down. So that is technically under my WWE umbrella of things that I like to create while I'm there. And the Twitch is just kind of another thing on the side, which donations are being taken because I'm trying to create a video game studio.
Oh,
so
cool.
I want to create mobile games. And so all the money that comes from anything that happens on Twitch, whether it's donations, subscriptions, whatever, goes right into the fund for the video game studio.
Can you share any of your ideas for games on here?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
So the biggest idea that we have, if you played the Raw vs. SmackDown games back in the day, like 2006, 2007, there was a thing called GM mode. So where you were the general manager of the show. So you didn't actually play the matches. You just, you drafted your roster, then you booked the shows against someone else booking the shows. And so I used to live with one of the other guys on the roster named Tyler Breeze. And randomly one day when I hooked up my stuff, he's like, "Oh, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006." And I was like, "Yeah, I really love GM mode." And he's like, "Oh my God, me too." So this was in like, I don't know, maybe 2013, 2014. So we would just play at the house and we loved it. And so fast forward to with the YouTube channel, we've been going for like 2.5, 3 years. And I was like, you know what? We should play GM mode on the channel. And he's like, "No one's going to watch that." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but it'll be really fun for us." And now at this point, we're like 6-8 months deep and like people love it.
Really?
Yeah. So, and it's nonsense because it's mainly just us arguing with each other. And he's currently winning right now, which very much upsets me. But what I want to grow to is having a general manager game, essentially. So it's kind of like the same idea as like Words with Friends. Like you take your turn, send your friend notifications, their turn.
Yeah.
So you guys go back and forth booking the show. You can send like messages and like videos to each other, like, "Oh, I'm gonna crush you this week," like stuff like that. But since WWE is such a large organization, they do a lot of stuff in-house. They do mostly everything in-house. And so I feel like I'm the bridge between like wrestling and gaming for WWE. And so what I want to do is create these mobile games and take the WWE license and like the names and the looks and everything that other outside sources can't use and make these games. So obviously GM mode, so that's a wrestling based game, but then I want to take those likenesses and personalities that people already know and love or hate, whichever one, and make games that have nothing to do with wrestling. So we take a Final Fantasy type game. So it's like, oh, Final Fantasy 15 expansion, and now you can play with like Samoa Joe on your team. It's like, yeah, but he's not talking about anything wrestling. He's not doing wrestling stuff. Like there's his face and his likeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like if I can kind of break through that barrier of getting that to start going, then maybe it'll open up WWE to more types of games, especially like in the esports realm.
Yeah.
We have a wrestling game, but it's not an esports game. It's more of like a wrestling simulation. And I'm looking for like a wrestling arcade game, like the ones on 64 back in the day.
Yeah.
Like everybody loved those. So,
Yeah.
And I will ramble. So just cut me off and ask a different question, because I'll just keep going.
Well, I got a question for you. Like, your colleagues, are they as into video games as you are? Are you like this one outlier? Like everybody else is like practicing for the show and getting ready, and you're like just off in the corner on your Switch. Like what's the balance here?
Oh no, everybody's in.
Yeah?
Pretty much everybody's in. Everybody's got something going on. It used to be cards. So people used to play Rummy all the time. And now it's just changed from cards to video games. And there are days where you walk in the locker room and it looks like an arcade. So yeah, I would say, so before me, there was a guy, Shelton Benjamin, and he was the one who would bring video games around. And then it kind of went away. And then I showed up on the roster and I was like, I need to be playing something. And so like at the time I had like a Microsoft Surface and I just had Steam running on it, and I'd play like the old school like Tales RPGs, and like, okay, here's something. And then I got a games case and would bring that around, and then people started playing Madden, and I was like, oh, this is how I get people in. Okay, here we go. So then got people into like Street Fighter, and now everybody's like deep into Tekken. We just had Lil Majin come to SmackDown. He's like the third best Tekken player in the world. He got third in Evo last year. And so it's cool because like everyone was excited that this guy from the fighting game community was coming to SmackDown backstage to play Tekken with us. And so
Tekken seems like such an obscure fighting game to get into with everybody.
We love it. It's so good. For us, it's like our favorite fighting game. It's so good.
I used to get lost in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And then like the bowling, they have Tekken bowling. So like there's so many fun things to do. But yeah, everybody pretty much loves them, whether they like sports games or fighting games, strategy games, like what have you. I think that I'm just the one who, I don't know, is out there like trying to meld the worlds the most, but everybody's playing games.
Yeah, that's interesting. What are your top 5 games of the moment?
Oh, top 5 games. I actually, so top 5 lists are very important to me. So I have like in my phone that I just turned off, I have my top 5 like songs, my top 5 games, but like I'll shuffle them so I can answer these questions. What's the order? So Mario Kart Double Dash is my favorite game of all time.
Okay.
GameCube. I don't know why they haven't remade that. They remaster all this other stuff, but we can't get another Double Dash. And then second is Nights into Dreams on Sega Saturn. Third is this game called Mischief Makers on N64.
Yeah.
And then fourth is River City Ransom, and regular Nintendo game, and then Mega Man 5.
Okay, so a lot of like retro games on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, because I feel like with how fun those games are, plus the nostalgia on them, like it's hard to beat that stuff. But there is one creeping in that's like came out last year. It's called Electronauts.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. If you don't know Electronauts, have you played it?
No.
Okay, so you've played it. It is. So you're essentially a DJ, and so like they have all these songs that are excuse me, they're actual songs, but you get to kind of replace what goes where. So they have like all of the notes, and you can kind of just play along, and then you can record your little riff. Then you add another one, and then you add the vocals, add the bass. And so you're just recreating this music. And it's like, I don't know, like you said, you get lost in Tekken. Like I get lost in that because it's all VR. And so you're just in this world, and this music is playing, and it's just like super chill. And there's no objective. It's just to play around, kind of like sandboxing music type game. And that's I'll say that's number 6.
Okay.
There we go. It's creeping in.
That's good. Okay, that's a good list. That's a really good list.
Thanks, man.
I approve of your list.
I just want everybody to like me.
Is it weird playing a video game that you're in?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Is that really surreal?
Oh, yeah. So the first time that you like see yourself in the game, it's like, wait, I didn't have to create myself. This is awesome. Like, I got all these moves. This
Some developer had to do it. It's like, wow.
You come in, and there's like, they put you in this little room with all these cameras around, and they take pictures of you from like every angle so they can try to have everything as accurate as can be. But yeah, it's really cool. But oddly enough, now that I'm in the game, I don't play with myself. Well, that's okay. Well, anyway, I don't play as myself. Yeah. Still definitely playing with myself. Don't play as myself now that I'm in the game. It's weird.
Why is that?
I think it's because when I would make myself in these games, I made what little kid Austin thought he was going to be in wrestling, and that's more fun to me because it's like a fantasy thing. As we're like, if I play as myself in the game, like, well, I do that in real life. So like, I got that covered. I know how that guy works. I'm this guy over here.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about some of the N64 wrestling games was creating your own character. And man, my parents didn't let us have video game consoles when we were growing up.
Oh no!
But they used to go out of town and like for a weekend or whatever, and they'd rent one for us.
Oh, that's a good weekend.
And me and my brother literally did not leave the TV like the whole time, and we would just play the game. Literally, like they'd leave, we'd turn it on, and then they'd come back and we'd close it up and put it back in the box and sit there. And that was it.
That's awesome.
So I know what you're saying about.
Is that the because what Blockbuster would let you rent with consoles?
They used to let you rent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just saw someone had a like the rental box for a Virtual Boy.
Really?
I was like, this is insane. For those of you who don't know, Blockbuster was a place where you had to go to rent video games or VHS tapes, as we used to call them.
Back in the days of physical media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bringing up this playing as yourself in a video game versus not playing yourself brings up a topic that actually Jake wanted to talk about that I think would be really fascinating, which is talking about personas. Creating a persona, being that persona, creating a new persona, being that persona. It's a very unique skill to have, and it's one that you clearly possess. You have Xavier Woods, you have Xavier Creed, you have Austin Woods, and you have yourself also beneath all this.
You mixed them, Nico. But
sorry,
yes,
you
got it all
Xavier
right.
Creed.
It's fine. It's fine.
You got Xavier Woods, you got Austin Creed, and then obviously yourself, right?
Yeah.
So when you're creating personas, where does that come from? You know, I noticed that you have a background in psychology and in philosophy even, and so where does that come from, and how does it? Do you ever feel like there isn't a blend between persona and real life, or is
so for me, I feel like I've gotten pretty lucky with it. So as opposed to like, let's say someone like the Undertaker, so like he's not really dead. So like there's like a disconnect, or not a disconnect, but like in his real life, like he's not gonna be walking around with like this sweet like deathly armor and like these purple gloves and a hat and tombstoning you to hell.
Right.
As we're like Xavier Woods of the New Day, who talks about video games and loves video games and legitimately plays trombone and loves unicorns. Like
You play trombone?
Oh yeah, I've been playing trombone since I was in 6th grade.
Okay.
But on TV, you only get a couple of notes. When they want a full concert, they got to come up off some money. So, but yeah, I've been lucky, especially like with Kofi and E. We've just literally been ourselves, and so something that you get told a lot in wrestling is like the best gimmicks, quote unquote, insider baseball. The best characters come from when it's you turned up to 11. So if you can take whatever thing about your personality that you enjoy, that will come through a camera when people are watching, like you crank that up as hard as you can, and that's what's gonna sell.
Right.
Because lots of us, I mean, we obviously go through all the gamuts of emotions, happiness, sadness, what have you. But when you can take that and amplify it to the point where you're not just feeling it, but other people are feeling it, not feeling it for you, they're feeling it themselves. Like that's when you've really tapped into where you're gonna become successful, I think, in sports entertainment, pro wrestling. But yeah, with New Day, we're literally ourselves. So there's really like not a time where you have to like turn it off, because it's like you can't turn yourself off. I guess that makes sense. We're just loud and obnoxious, and
I remember the first time I saw you guys, I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. But it was so ridiculous. You guys had taken it so far that I had to love it. It was, man, like, I think you guys came out in a cereal box.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Booty-O's cereal box.
Came out of a cereal box with Saiyan armor on.
Yeah.
So it was like, the whole thing of what we do is we try to make it, what would we like? If we weren't wrestling, we were still fans who were coming to the shows, what would we want to see right now in our 30s?
Yeah.
What would make us laugh? What would entertain us? Well, we all grew up in that era of like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and everybody's like a badass, So like that's kind of the archetype that we all saw, and we're like, oh, I want to be these guys. So on the show now, we ran into the problem of like, there's like 30, 40 dudes who want to be badass.
Right.
And it's like, well, Raw's a 3-hour show, SmackDown's 2 hours. then NXT is 2 hours, and then there's like a pay-per-view on Sunday, which is like anywhere between like 4 and 19 hours.
Right.
So you have to figure out, well, if everyone is doing the same thing, it's not going to be interesting to the fans once you get deeper into the show. So like, well, what can we do that's different? It's like, well, in real life, I'm not like a super tough guy. I just want to play video games, and like I oddly know a lot about unicorns, and I really like King Arthur and Ninja Turtles. It's like, how can we incorporate that? It's like, and then we had New Day. And so I think it's more of like a breath of fresh air for people, like when we first started doing, because it's like, okay, cool. Here's a break in some of the stuff that we've been seeing lately. And I think that since that started, there's been a lot more variety on the show. Not saying that we were the ones to like start this revolution of variety on the show, but I think it was good that we jumped into that lane, because then I feel like a lot of other people got a lot more confident in what they were doing and put a lot more of themselves into it, which I think helped a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of nonsense, and it's literally exactly what I wanted to be doing from the time I was a little kid, because my favorite wrestler is a guy who went by the name of Flash Funk. He was also Too Cold Scorpio in ECW. He's like, if you don't know him, I don't know, he's like 6'3", 6'4", like he's a big dude, but
Scorpio?
Yeah, Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah.
But he would come out like dancing and stuff. And when he was in WWE, he had the Funkette. So he was like, I don't know, he dressed like, for lack of a better term, he dressed like an 80s pimp. And he was just dancing with these girls. And he'd come out, and when the bell rang, he could do all this crazy acrobatic stuff. Like he could do like front flips, back flips, handsprings, like everything. And it's like, no, you're way too big to be doing this. And so for me, he was like the epitome of being able to like dance and have fun and have everybody kind of like, oh, cool, here's a fun, jovial guy.
Yeah.
And then when the bell rang, like, oh, wow, he's a serious wrestler. Because a lot of times if you engage in the dancing, ridiculous stuff, then people can't take you seriously. And it's a lot harder for them to kind of be into your matches, because they know you. It's like, oh, you're the funny guy. You're the ha-ha guy. You're not going to win a match, but I'll still kind of like you and cheer for you a little bit when you come out. So to walk that fine line, like I always loved that. So that's kind of what I'd always been searching for my whole career, because like I said, I never wanted to be that super tough guy, because I'm like 5'9" on a good day, like 205. Like I'm not a big person. I'm one of the smaller guys on the roster. And so I know like that's not the role that I'm going to be able to play on the show. But in the role of New Day, I can do exactly what I need to do and be just as big personality-wise as anybody else on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that putting yourself in a different lane than some of the other people has given you more success within the WWE or in your career generally?
100%. 100%. I feel like it's like we're all trying to get to the same place, but let's say the 405 is backed up.
Yeah.
So I know back roads, and I'll get there a lot faster than you guys. You guys still might make it, but it's going to take you a lot longer, and it's going to put much more stress on your car.
Yeah.
It's going to put more emissions into the air. It's just bad for the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Just find a new lane. Find a new lane and get down there, because that's the whole goal. Is I would say for a lot of us, just trying to be as successful as possible in our careers. Success looks different for a lot of different people. For me, success is just having a good time at work, having fun, being able to have people smile and be excited when we come out. For instance, we go to Japan, we go to Germany. We just went to Kuala Lumpur. And there were people there who were like, oh, Xavier Woods. And it's like, why do you know my name? Like, I'm just like a random nerdy dude from Georgia. Like, you shouldn't know who I am. So it's a very like humbling thing. So even more on top of that, they're not talking to me about wrestling. They're talking to me about video games.
Yeah.
And so to me, like that's success, being able to surpass like the life goal that I had of becoming a professional wrestler on television to, okay, well, I also, my goals were be a pro wrestler or make video games. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a pro wrestler, and now I'm bleeding into this video game world, and now people are more recognizing me as Austin Creed because of like the YouTube channel and doing stuff like this, like podcasts, going to stuff like PAX, and like I go to Dragon Con every year, just do a ton of cosplay stuff. So people are starting to see that side of me a lot more and being able to relate to that, which then again can bring them to wrestling if they don't like it already. So if there's someone listening to this who doesn't necessarily watch WWE anymore because they got made fun of in high school, so they quit watching it, whatever, that stuff's for kids. And it's like, oh, people still watch wrestling? I hear that so much. People still watch wrestling? Like, yeah, it's one of the largest like things of entertainment venues on the planet. Yeah. And so I've gotten a lot of people who are like, oh, I fell off, but I listened to you on this podcast, and I didn't realize like that wrestling had changed so much, and they've come back to wrestling and they love it again. And so it's very cool to see that mixture, because for me, it's just a Venn diagram of like gamers, wrestling fans, and in the middle, like I'm trying to stretch that as much as humanly possible, because we're all the same kind of nerd. You know what I mean? We all got made fun of, and we were the ones who like persevered through getting made fun of and all the BS. And now everything that we like, everyone on the earth thinks is so cool and they want to be a part of it. And it's like, yeah, you guys can come in. You know what you did to us, but you can still come in because we have no hate here. But I just want to bring the nerddoms together.
That's very, very noble. So I'm a huge like action movie buff. I love stunts, especially like physical stunts, like old martial arts movies. I love.
So Jackie Chan?
Yeah, classic Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, all those guys. Funny story, you and Sonya Firefox were actually hosting, I think, like the Video Game Awards or something like that when we debuted Nerf John Wick.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. I was in tears watching that. Oh my God, I'm taking all the guns and the headshots and stuff. That's hilarious.
But, you know, so I've always had this like fascination with like the job of stunts and physical acting and taking hits, you know, for entertainment and that kind of stuff. And, you know, I want to ask you, you know, wrestling is obviously super physical and, you know, it can be very hard on your body. And like when you're doing a match and you take a hard hit, like what's the recovery like after that? Like how do you keep yourself in shape and functioning and recover from getting out there, getting the crap kicked out of you?
You just kind of do it. So I've been wrestling, I think 15 years in September.
Wow.
I think, if my math's right, 14 or 15 years in September. Because I started right out of high school. But it's something like you have to be like kind of, I guess, like a masochist to want to wrestle, because it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good at all. But there's just something about that, like you said, that physical activity and doing that in front of people, a crowd that appreciates it, and being able to understand how to tell a story through physicality and have people understand it and go, okay, well, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy. Oh my God, I want the good guy to win so much. Or like being able to evoke those kinds of emotions, that kind of keeps you going, because there have been times where, and we're not trying to like obliterate each other out there, because we're doing this 5, sometimes like 6 nights a week. Sometimes we'll go on overseas tours, or we're in the UK bouncing around for 2.5 weeks, and we got shows every single day. We'll come right back to the States, do 2 more shows, go home for 2 days, and we're right back out again. Because like we were saying earlier, like there's no off season.
Yeah.
So people say like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, like football or baseball or basketball. Like, well, and hats off to them, because it's not easy to do any type of physical sport like that for a job. Like they have the off season to be able to recover. Take this 3 months to like get massages, do your yoga, stretching, like whatever it is to try to recoup your body for the next season, because you have to prepare. Like we don't have that. Like after our biggest show of the year, WrestleMania, which you can catch on the WWE Network for only $9.99 a month. Get it, first month's free, I believe. The night after WrestleMania, we have a show.
The night after?
Yeah, we have Raw, because people come from literally all over the world. I think it's something like 260 countries people come from to see WrestleMania. And so they'll come in, and they come in for like a week, because we have Access, which is essentially like it's like a wrestling convention, essentially. So we have that throughout the whole week. There's signings. There's like, I think we might do like a pancake breakfast at this WrestleMania. The people are there. They come from Japan, Malaysia, all over. So they're there from like Thursday. They go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And also, sorry, let me back up. So whatever city WrestleMania is in, tons of other wrestling organizations will come and have shows in that town, because tons of wrestling fans are there. So like, if you're a wrestling fan, you go to that town because it's wrestlers' holiday. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff to do. And so people will be there Friday, Saturday. Sunday is WrestleMania. Or sorry, Saturday is NXT, which is a huge show. Sunday is WrestleMania, which is like 7 hours now. Then Monday is Raw. Then Tuesday is SmackDown. And then we go home for 2 days, and then we'll go out to do shows like Friday. And so it's a constant thing. Constant. But to the question of how do you deal with being hit, you just kind of do it, and you might come back. Like you might catch somebody on accident a little more than you meant to, or you might be a little too fired up. But like if I accidentally popped you pop me back, and we're even. But it's like I said, you leave like your drama at the door. So like if you and I had a situation, once we go through the curtain, we are professionals first and foremost, because I'm giving you my body, you're giving me your body. Any beef that we have completely squashed right before we go out there, because we know like there's what we're doing is bigger than us, bigger than whatever issue we might have. And like any other job, there's people you like, people you don't like, people you hang out with, people you don't. But we're all there for one common goal, and everyone puts that above anything else.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like we went last year with John, Carl, he took us behind the scenes with Brian. Man, at that point, after I just put a pin in the whole situation. I just said WWE is one of the if not the greatest moving shows, traveling shows on Earth.
Yeah, on the planet.
I think since Barnum and Bailey isn't doing anything anymore, I think we're the biggest traveling show.
Yeah. It's got to be. Yeah. Well, this is a good segue into your question was a good segue into my next question, which is someone of your athleticism probably could have done any sport. I would.
Oh, well, thank you.
I would say. So, the one thing about wrestling is that it's not just an athletic competition, it's entertainment. And so in this entertaining side of it, you can't necessarily always choose your own destiny as you could in a sport like baseball or, I guess you're still on a team, you're still hinged to whatever the team does, but that sense of athletic accomplishment being directly tied to how successful you are in the sport is not obviously the same as other sports in the WWE. So have you felt, have you experienced that in any way? And if so, what have you done or tried to do to change that?
So I guess I would say that I felt that before we started New Day. Because like you said, so in any other sport, it's like, okay, your success is measured by like, okay, did you guys win the Super Bowl? Did you win the World Series? And it's different for us because it's essentially, so talking about action movies, like if I got a role to be in a Jackie Chan movie and I'm not the star, I'm like bad guy A, like I'm not mad about that. I'm stoked because I'm part of a Jackie Chan movie. This is dope. So it's the same thing in WWE. You might not be the person who has the ball right now, but you are part of the show to make sure that that person becomes elevated enough so that we can create stories, we can create emotional content for people that are watching that. So then when it is your turn, if you reach that level, people will be there to do that for you. But I guess I would say that I felt that, like I said before, we started New Day because I had been with the company since 2010 and I was in the developmental area and I wasn't on the main roster yet. Finally got to the main roster, wasn't really doing anything. And at this point, I felt like, I'd been wrestling long enough where I trusted my instincts and I'd been in like mentally not in a good place. And so I was just kind of just downtrodden, just kind of complaining about everything all the time. And then one of my friends, I'll never forget this, he just told me, he's like, you know what, I'm really tired of you complaining about everything. And I was like, when someone like is real with you, you kind of like get defensive for a second and you're like, what? And he's like, no, listen. He's like, you've been complaining about the same stuff for like 3 years. Shut up and do something about it. So that's when it kind of hit me like, oh, I should just quit whining and actually like make a move rather than kind of waiting for things to happen and just say, rather than saying like, hey, hello, I have arrived for work. I would like to do a good job, please. Like, kick in the door and say, this is what I want to do. If you don't want to do that, then I'll roll. So it's kind of a thing of like betting on yourself. And so that's when I approached E and Kofi and was like, hey, I got this idea. I want to do this. Kofi, obviously already established, one of the most decorated humans to ever come through WWE. E had just come off being, I think, Intercontinental Champion. And I hadn't done anything but got beat up by a ton of people. I'd been there for a few months. And so my thought was, I have this idea for this group. I want to try it out. If it doesn't work and it just fails, like that's on me and I shouldn't be here because my idea didn't work. Because that would prove to me that I don't know what I'm doing and I should be doing something else. I should go and use my degree. I should start working with some psychologists and just talk to people about their problems. And then luckily it worked out. And when they let us make the group, we were good guys. For the industry terms, we were baby faces. And we thought we should be bad guys, heels. And so after a while, some things happened and people were chanting like, New Day sucks. And it's like, okay, yes, cool. They'll let us like turn a corner and we can be bad guys now. And they thought that since Kofi had been a babyface for so long that they wouldn't boo him. And so to me, I was like, no, like we're in control of that. Like I guarantee you, if like we went to Vince McMahon, and I was like, if you give me a microphone 4 weeks in a row, I guarantee you that they'll boo Kofi Kingston. And he was like, you really believe in this that much? I said, yes, I believe that I can do it. And he goes, 4 weeks. And if you don't do it in 4 weeks, what happens? I said, if I don't do it in 4 weeks, then you've got 60 dudes in developmental that deserve this spot more than I do. He's like, so I could send you home and get rid of you. I was like, you should if I can't do it. If I can't make good on this, then I don't deserve to be here. He's like, all right, 4 weeks.
High stakes.
Yeah. Well, like at that point, I feel like I had done everything that I could do, and I still wasn't. I wasn't getting opportunities on TV. Like, I was like, oh, but like I know how to wrestle. Like I've got like crazy hair. Like my gear's really cool. Like I've done everything like that, quote unquote, you're like supposed to do. But you realize that doing what you're supposed to do only gets you so far. Mm-hmm. You can't go down swinging somebody else's punches. You have to swing your own punches. So like, if it wouldn't have worked, I wouldn't be one of the people who, whether you get fired from like any job, you know how you hear some people get fired and they just complain about the job. And it's like, sometimes like, when does personal responsibility come into play? Like, what did you do to not advance yourself enough?
That's a super powerful mindset to have.
Yeah, I feel like it, and like I said, it took me a long time to get there. And it wasn't until my friend kind of kicked me in the face and told me that. And so it's like, finally did everything. And like at week 3, they booed Kofi a little bit. And after that, we were cool. Like they told us, okay, cool. You guys are bad guys now. And we just ran with it. And luckily it worked. It was just like you said, it was the ridiculousness level. The ridiculousness level was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Because we were just trying to go for like shock and awe and trying to see what we could get away with. And that's when we like acquired a trombone. And it was just like, what is happening right now? And like I said, we just wanted to be a fever dream. And so luckily we got the opportunity to do that, but it was because we quit complaining and just took a risk. Because like I said, if we would have swung this punch and got completely knocked out, then it's like, okay, that's on me. I now know that I'm meant to do something else. But I think that sometimes, a lot of times, most of the time, we as humans are it's a scary thing to do.
Yeah,
it's a leap of faith. And I think that it's harder to take a leap of faith in yourself than it is in something or someone else sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you realize you're the only one who can own that. You know for the rest of your life, like, this happened because I made this choice. And so you have to become okay with that before you're able to take that jump.
Yeah, taking all responsibility on yourself is scary. And you see a lot of people like in jobs, they have shared responsibility, so they don't have to take responsibility for failure. But it also means that if you take responsibility for yourself, you take responsibility in your success, which is great. And this might be a little assumptive on my part, but I'm going to assume anyways.
Ooh, let's go.
When was the point where you're like, I made it? So I'm assuming that you've hit that point, and I think it's kind of fair to assume that to a certain degree, but where did that switch flip?
It's weird because that gauge moves. It moves around. So once New Day, once we had won the tag titles, it was like, okay, cool. I think like we've accomplished like one of the things that we wanted to do. But it's like, I feel like you have to, we're in that mindset of, you have this goal for, here's the switch that you flip, like, okay, we made it. But then like, as soon as you get there, it's like, we want something else. Yeah. And there's like never satisfied. And I think that's what helps us continuously keep grinding and trying to think of new stuff. But like the first time, I guess, would feel that is probably when we won the titles for the first time at SummerSlam. But then we were lucky enough to hold the titles for 483 days.
Longest ever.
Yeah. And so that's not something that you think of as a kid. You're like, oh, I want to be the longest reigning tag team champion in the history of the company. It's like, no, your goal is like, I said just like this, I want to be a TV wrestler, like as a little kid, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, even just getting the contract for the first time, that was like, okay, made it. Mm-hmm. And then you're in there for like 2-3 months. You're like, okay, I didn't make it yet. I need something else. And then like I said, it keeps moving. So even when we hit that, it was like, okay, we made it. And then at the same time, I was like, but my YouTube channel needs more subscribers. And then it turned into like, so for me, my goal for like making it now is, like I was saying earlier, like bridging that gap between wrestling fans and video game fans. And literally just, I want the worlds to be so intertwined that they're one and the same.
Yeah.
Because we like video games because of storytelling, because of the love and the hard work people put into these games. And it's the same exact thing for wrestling. And so once that happens, then I'll say, yes, I've made it.
So
Great answer. That was a great answer.
Are you developing? It was a good answer.
Thanks, guys. You know what? I like this podcast.
So you said you're developing games.
Trying to. So it's very much in the process of infancy right now.
Okay.
So currently looking for the right couple of developers. And also, since I don't do that, I don't know exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of talking to random people about it. So if you're listening to this and you want to make sweet mobile games with me, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at Xavier Woods PhD.
In your mind's eye, where do those things?
Sorry. You have a PhD?
No. So,
Oh,
okay. That's a long story.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Jake.
No.
I just had to throw that out there.
It's okay. Do you want me to answer this one first or answer this and come back to this?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'll handle this one first.
Okay.
So almost had a PhD. So I've got 2 undergraduates, a master's, and I was at the dissertation phase for my PhD. And so I was at the same spot in the dissertation for like 2 years. And all my previous professors, I was sending them my stuff, and they're like, why is this not going through? Like, this experiment like works. Like, you should be done with this by now. It's like, yes, I know. And so then the school that I was attending, which will remain unnamed because I cannot stand them.
This was educational psychology
Yes,
too, right? By the way,
educational
right?
psychology. Yes. We found out they were just holding students at that one spot because it was like X amount of dollars every 3 months to continue in that process.
Oh.
And so they would like pass a few people. So they'd say like, oh, here's our certified PhDs. But then the other like 300 of us, we all like got together and were like, what is happening? And we found out they were just doing it to like rake in money. And so there was like a big hoopla about it. And a bunch of us ended up leaving the school. So when I went to transfer, the new administrators for the new school that I was going to go to, they're like, okay, so you can only test out of like 2 or 3 classes. And then in order to get the degree from us, you have to have the majority of your credits from us. So it'll be another 3.5 years and you know everything already. So it's literally like you can give us this money and we can give you the piece of paper in 3.5 years, or you can just be content with the fact that you like have the knowledge already. And at that point, like wrestling had kicked off, like New Day had kicked off, like the YouTube channel was kicking off.
So you were wrestling during all this?
Yeah.
How do you find the time to That's crazy.
So I started wrestling right out of high school, and then did all throughout college. So I went to Furman University in South Carolina, and at the time I didn't have a car at school. So on Friday nights, I would borrow one of my friend's cars and I would drive to wherever in the Carolinas I had to wrestle. So kind of just like getting my name out there and everything. So by sophomore year, I was wrestling 5 nights a week, and we did school Monday through Friday. So school every day. There was a place near our school where I'd wrestle Tuesday night. Right after class Friday, I would drive to wherever in the Carolinas, Friday, Saturday, wrestle Sunday morning, Sunday night, go back to school Sunday night for a class on Monday morning.
So you must not sleep.
No. So my favorite quote right now is sleep is the cousin of death, and I don't like that family. So it's just kind of what my parents told me, if there's something that you want to do, it's not a sense of if you have the time, it's if you want to do it, you'll make the time. And so I liken that to, I want to learn Japanese. And I've wanted to learn Japanese since I was a little kid. And my mom for Christmas, like 8 years in a row, got me like how to speak Japanese CDs, how to speak Japanese books.
Man, your weeb levels are like so much higher than I thought they were.
Well, check it. So so from the time I was a little kid to now, I'm 32 years old. I know like 2 words of Japanese.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. So
Domo arigato.
nani.
There it is.
That's it. But like to that point, me saying I want to learn Japanese, but not putting in any work to learn it, I have to come to terms with, oh, I don't actually want to learn Japanese. I like the idea of possibly knowing Japanese. So it's like when you're real with yourself about stuff and you go, okay, I don't actually want this. But like wrestling is something that I actually wanted. So rather than joining a fraternity, rather than being there for parties, rather than having that full like quote unquote college experience, it's like, no, I have other stuff to do. I'm here to get an education and I want to have a contract wrestling on TV before I graduate. Like that was the goal. And I got lucky enough to get one with organization TNA like 6 months before I graduated. And it's funny because I told my dad, I called him, I was like, I got a deal with TNA. He was like, wait, what? I was like, yes, I did it. And he was like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you gonna do with school? Like, you have to finish. Like, yeah, I'm gonna finish. But this was the goal, so ha ha ha. And my best friend, so we dated in high school, and the first time I met her dad, he looks at me and he goes, so what do you plan to do with your life? sir, I want to be a pro wrestler.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to do to make money? And it was like, oh, okay. All right, sweet. So like we're real good friends and everything. And so I saw him, I had gone home at like Christmas break after I got into the contract, and I saw him at like Publix or supermarket. And I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? We're catching up everything. He goes, oh, so what are you up to now? I said, it's funny. You should ask.
I've been waiting for this moment my entire life.
Yes, since I was like 17. I was like, well, I actually got a contract to wrestle on TV. And he goes, well, I'll go home and eat my shoes. And so, but yeah, so just did it all throughout college, got that deal, wrestled around for a bit, did my master's while I was with TNA, and then got signed to WWE, did my master's, finished up my master's while I was with WWE, and started my PhD program. All the BS stuff happened. Yeah, it's weird because as much as we do travel, we don't have a lot of time at home. But when you start finding other things that you want to pursue, you find out that you do have the time. It's figuring out how to make it. So like, I have a kid at home.
Really?
He's almost 2. And so like figuring out how to juggle that with like, okay, so I want to increase output on the YouTube channel, and I want to do this, and I got to work out, and I've got to travel, and then I got to come home, and then there's a baby at the house that I have to go and I have to make an attempt to be like super dad because I'm not there a lot. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like, it's figuring out how to do it. So it's like, okay, so on Monday night after the show, I'll make sure that I try to get a bunch of sleep so that Tuesday I'll be effective for SmackDown, and then I can try to get a bunch of sleep again. So then when I get home on Wednesday, I can like hang out with him and then try to like not sleep and then catch up on like filming stuff. So he goes to bed, then I'll go downstairs to the basement to my setup and film for YouTube, or like get on Twitch, get up early, do stuff with him, like trying to find times to sleep that don't interfere with the stuff that we're trying to do in life, which is probably not healthy, but it's fine.
Have you tried like the power sleeping method where you're awake for 4 hours and you sleep for 20 minutes, and you're awake for 4 hours and you sleep for 20 minutes?
Oh, I can't do it.
No,
That's all you, Niko.
I try.
I can't do that
I try.
either.
I'm not mentally strong enough. Hats off to you.
No, I can't do it. Freddie tried to do it, and it lasted like a week.
Yeah, that doesn't sound. No, I just need a solid 8 hours.
It's like, imagine hanging out with your friends and be like, sorry guys, I have to go take a nap.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Give me 20 minutes. I'll be right. Yeah, I do a lot of sleep on airplanes. So like I was saying earlier today, that flight from Atlanta to here, out the whole time, and now I feel great.
What's in your airplane survival kit?
Ooh, so I have
He's got it right here.
Oh God. This is my airplane survival kit, and as you see, this is my very dirty string backpack. Saren, this is from Kuroko's No Basketball, one of my favorite animes. So in my airplane survival kit, I have my Switch.
Nice. Are you big into Smash right now?
Yes, but I'm also big into Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune on the Switch.
Yes, it's a double pack. It's Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
Wow.
And so the goal for 2019 is to me, the guy who's talking about Tyler Breeze, and there's a girl, Zelina Vega. So like, we have a really good rapport, and we play Wheel of Fortune every once in a while. And so our goal is to get on Wheel of Fortune this year, because when you watch Wheel of Fortune, it's never going off the air. Pat Sajak is a total G, and he's just the man and killing the show. But you have like the same kind of people on it all the time. But if we can get on there and just scream and yell at each other, that's all I want. So you heard it here, Wheel of Fortune 2019.
Boom. I didn't know you could play Jeopardy on there. That sounds like I might need to get a Switch now.
Oh yeah. Switch, wallet. Right now, see, it's a condensed version because I was coming here. I've got my sunglasses.
Oh, cool.
The Switch plug and gum.
That's it.
This is my survival pack.
It's a solid survival pack.
Got to.
I mean, as long as the Switch is in there, you're pretty much good.
Pretty much. Because you can just walk through the airport and someone will be playing a Switch somewhere, and you're like, hey, like you said, are you playing Smash? Okay, dope. Come get this Kirby work.
All right, I'm going to challenge you to a game after we're all done here.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Kirby's the only one I know how to play.
You main Kirby, huh?
Yeah, because of the, the adventure mode?
Oh, yeah.
So
Start with in Spirits mode or the adventure mode, yeah.
So, because I never played any other Smashes. Like, I'd play them for a little bit, but I never got into them. I like watching people play them, because watching someone who's good with ice climbers is just like, is great because everyone else is just infuriated. But yeah, for this one, I was like, okay, let me actually sit down and like take the time and try to figure out how to play. And so like I'm not great, but I'm okay. I'm okay enough.
All right. Clint will just beat all of us. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's another level.
So Jake, I'm sorry to cut off your question. For
No, that was great. No, that was great. I mean, I'm not even going to ask my original question now because of what you brought up. But I'm going to ask what it was like getting your first wrestling gig. I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but like, I've literally, if somebody asked me, go out tomorrow, get a wrestling gig, right? Where would you even start? You're like, well, I don't know. I got to work on these probably. I need to cut something about my shirt because I can't just go in there with it. But like, where do you start? Do you want to be a wrestler? Where do you start?
So you find a wrestling school.
Okay.
And so at the time I was going to these wrestling shows, like once a month they would do shows near my house. My mom calls me and she goes, Austin, there's wrestlers at Walmart. I was like, what? So I like kicked up out of the bed and I was at my buddy's house and we jumped in the car, drove over there, and there's these two guys sitting there and they're like, yeah, we have this thing called US Play. Mm-hmm. It's like a Dave and Buster's-y type place.
Okay.
Like, yeah, we're having a show at the US Play across the street and they're going to be a hardcore match. So bring whatever weapons you want. And it was like, oh. And so I didn't know about independent wrestling at that point in my life. I just knew WWE and WWF and ECW. I didn't know that there was like any other, like I had no clue how to get into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to these shows. The first time we go, and they said bring a weapon. All we had in the trunk, we had a baseball bat for some reason, wooden baseball bat. And so yeah,
like
of course, yeah.
Like you do.
And so we brought that in, and we gave throw it to them during the match, and afterwards, stayed afterwards, and all the guys signed it for me and everything, and go to these every single month. And I was in band, and so we had some concert or something, and so I showed up to the show late. So I pulled up on speed there. I pulled in the parking spot. I'm in my tuxedo with my cummerbund and bow tie and stuff. And I bust into the room and it's just in time for the main event. And the heel, the bad guy, looks and he goes like this because he sees in my hand I've got the bat. And this is it's like a weird movie situation. I got close enough and threw the bat like a javelin, and he caught it and started beating up the good guy with it. And the announcers were screaming oh no, the Batman's here! And everyone's just booing him and me, and I'm just like, yes! In this cummerbund and bow tie, 16 years old, yeah! And so
wait, so you were in the show?
No.
You were just
I was just a fan, but I was there every month, and I'd always bring this bat.
Okay.
And so they would always use it, and so he knew this kid will probably play around.
Yeah.
So I toss him the bat, and he's just beating him with it. And
in my mind, it's like a perfect spiral on that bat, just like a perfect javelin spiral.
Oh, 100% was definitely 100%. And so after that show, the guy who was in charge of the organization came out to me, and he was like, "You seem like you want to do this." And I was like, I very much want to do this, sir. Please. And he goes, well, I'm starting a school in the next few months. Here's my information. If you want to try it out, give me a call. And so, long story short, go up there, we train, and he is, his name's Rob Adonis. He's one of the nicest humans I've ever met. He's my wrestling dad. And so he taught me how to talk to wrestling promoters, how to get booked on shows. He taught me always have your wrestling notebook with you. So any idea that you have, you will forget it if you don't write it down. Mm-hmm. So I have a book that I started in, I'm horrible with time and years. So whatever year I started training.
So.
Yeah. So I have that book still. It's in my wrestling bag, and I write in it fully. I wrote in it all the way through, and now it's flipped upside down. I'm writing in it backwards. But it's got every wrestling idea I've ever had, any idea for moves, for gear. My first set of gear is drawn out in there. And so I can go back and see that stuff. But you just learn how to, essentially, you learn how to not die doing wrestling, and learn how to not break people apart. And then you kind of go out into the wrestling world. And he was taught me, when you go to a show, go to it for the first time without talking to anybody, without talking to the promoter, without talking to any other wrestlers. Just go and watch it and just see what the show's like and see what you would want to do, see where you might fit in the show, see who you might want to wrestle in the show. Afterwards, go in the back, talk to the promoter and say, hey, you know what, I wrestle, I'm from blah, 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 blah. I train with this guy, that guy, and see if they'll let you be on the show the next week. And so that's what I did. Like I said, when I would leave school, I would find a show on the internet, I'd look something up, and at that point, we had no GPS, we just had MapQuest, so I'd print out the MapQuest directions,
of course,
drive to wherever I was going, and I'd be by myself, just sitting in the corner, watching wrestling shows at 17 years old, oh, that guy looks good, I want to wrestle him, oh man, I want to talk to that guy, and then I just go talk to everybody and just try to learn everything I could, and so I was wrestling in North Georgia and South Carolina, and so what happens is you find your places that you're wrestling, and you try to become known there. and then you go one town over, you become known there. Then you go one more town over, and you become known there. And you're trying to just expand your name and your reach until finally, okay, you feel like you've done enough stuff where you start sending your stuff to like places in New York, places in Wyoming, places in California. Or you want to go to Mexico, send something down there, a resume, CDs with your matches on it, something. And it's legit just like any other job. You send out a resume, and then hopefully you just get to keep bouncing around, and people know you in enough places, and then you create enough buzz, and then a larger company goes, hey, we want you to work for us. And so I was lucky enough to get that to happen.
Wow. So it's a little bit like, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of that in music. There's a little bit of that in martial arts. Mm-hmm. Just this, I guess the grassrootsness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I think maybe that insulates a little bit of the creativity too from like being corporate prey.
Yeah.
You can come up, you can develop relationships with people in the sport on your own.
Yeah.
Naturally. You can come up with personas naturally. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like you said, so it's the fully created by you. You're the talent, you are the marketer, you are the social media director, you are the PR agent, like you're everything for yourself at that point. And then hopefully you get to a point where you are part of like a larger business, and you can kind of like shed some of those things and spend your time working more directly just on the creative stuff. So then more of your energy can go there. But yeah, it's definitely a grind and a hustle. So very similar to music. Very similar to something like boxing.
Yeah.
You're in these smaller arenas. So for us, we wrestle in like VFW halls, like the old school like veteran halls. So or like high school gyms. I wrestled on a baseball field before, like a little league baseball field.
Really?
It's like anywhere. I've wrestled in strip clubs to the point where I think I was 18, and the guy running the show, he got me from the locker room, put his hands over my eyes, and walked me to the ring because he's like, I'm not getting in trouble for having a non-21-year-old person in here. It's like, wrestle and get out. And I'm like, okay. It's like 2 a.m.
That's so wholesome.
Yeah, right. So like, you just wrestle wherever you can, trying to create a name for yourself, trying to create a buzz, trying to learn. So it's a grind.
How long have you been doing your game show for? Up, down, down.
I'm bad with time, but I think it'll be by this E3. It'll be 4 years. So E3 is like our birthday. That was our launch. And that was very specifically planned. So then I could always get off to go to E3. But yeah, we've been doing that for that long, and met a ton of awesome people along the way. Got to do a bunch of cool stuff. And the fun part about it for me is like learning how to do things. So learning like what microphones are good, learning about like XLR stuff, and learning about shotgun microphones, and then omnidirectional microphones and cameras, and this webcam is good. Oh, now I've got a Canon 80D to film my like video on demand stuff. So like I like learning all that stuff because for me, learning things is where I feel like I'm growing. You know what I mean? And so, like I said before, doing stuff on Twitch now I'm learning Twitch. So last night I just found out that you could put a Spotify panel so that people that are watching you on Twitch know what like your recently Spotify music is. And it's like, oh, that's really cool. And so it's just, I love all the gaming stuff because there's so many facets of it that I don't yet know about, like the streaming and about the YouTube aspect of it, that like I'm constantly learning new stuff. And that's like probably the most fun thing about it for me.
Okay, that's cool. You mentioned, so you have that backpack from an anime. Do you watch a lot of anime?
I do. I haven't been able to watch as much as I would like to recently. So like what got me back into it? I was like in a rut, and then I got deep into I started rewatching Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay. Because
that's my favorite anime of all time. I think it's the most perfectly crafted and well-ended anime. So when they're like, "Oh, we're making new episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho," I was like, I'm equally excited and terrified at the same time. So I was getting back into that, and then I saw what is it? A Prince of Tennis.
Okay.
Have you seen that? Mm-mm. So it's just like I'm not big into sports at all, but for some reason sports anime really gets me because then they're like, oh, he's got the snake attack, and it's like they're explaining the technicalities of how this could happen in real life, but they're turning him into a snake, and he's like doing weird stuff. And so I got deep into that, and was like, okay, I need to get back on my anime grind. So I got into that, which got me eventually into what I really love Kuroko's no Basketball. So if you don't know that anime, Kuroko is such a non-personality. He's like so boring that they forget he's on the court. So he's really good at passing. And so like that's totally up my alley because I'm a huge sidekick guy. Like Krillin's my dude, Tails is my guy, and Kuroko is the ultimate sidekick to me because so he's paired with the guy on the team who he's big, he's strong, he's fast, he can dunk, and so his whole thing he's like, you're the light and I'm the shadow. The brighter you shine, the bigger I am. And I was like, friendship. And so like that kind of stuff sticks with me a lot.
Is there a wrestling anime?
Yes. What is it? What is it called? It's gonna bother me. I can't remember, but yes, and it's really good. But it's based in there's another wrestling company called New Japan, and so it's based with those characters. And I'm like super incredibly jealous that I wasn't able to be a part of it because it's not my wrestling company. But it's like really good.
That's cool. Yeah, I just finished My Hero Academia on Hulu.
Nice.
That was great.
I gotta watch season 3 still.
Season 3's good.
I know, shame.
Did you watch the new Attack on Titan season?
No, so I got halfway through season 2.
Season 2's not good.
Yeah.
Season 3 is excellent.
It was hard to get through.
Yeah.
And I like season 1 so much.
Season 1's like, in my opinion, one of the best anime
It's incredible.
Seasons ever made. Yeah.
Incredible. Just that first thing where at the end of the first episode, when you see the thing eat his mom, I was like, this is incredible. What? I love this.
Yeah. Season 2 of Attack on Titan. Sorry, Jake, we're just going real deep here.
Go. Yeah, you guys are on it.
I mean, season 2 was kind of like this like little filler season to buy them time for season 3.
Okay.
And season 3 is excellent. Like every episode, something's happening. And like, I never got into the show Lost because I knew that I was just getting dicked around the whole time.
Yeah.
Some people loved it. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I was worried that was happening with Attack on Titan. Like they're just throwing all this mystery at you. No, every single thing there's an answer to. Every single thing plays out in a great way. And just, so season 3 is worth checking out. I think you'll dig it.
I gotta jump back in. Yeah, because like season 2 I was watching and it's like, it's one of those things like you don't want to say like, I don't know if I like this anymore because it's so good. But yeah, I just kind of fell off, started watching Food Wars, and Food Wars is that might be a perfect anime. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
You haven't seen it?
No.
It's okay. So cut this out if you need to, but I'll just say it. So it's essentially an anime about people. It's Iron Chef the anime.
Okay.
But people can cook so well that essentially when you eat their food, you come. That's essentially the anime, and like once you see it, you'll get it.
But I'm assuming all the food's like lovingly like rendered in detail.
Like I don't like most food, but I want to eat everything that they make on the show.
What is with like Japanese culture and like drawing, painting, or sculpting food?
I don't know, but it's great.
Like Final Fantasy 15.
So good.
Yeah.
I would cook just to see the meals. It's amazing.
It's like they spent like half the graphics budget on just like executing like the most beautiful ramen dish and the PS4 real-time graphics can handle.
So Food Wars is really good. Another one I'm really into is Case Closed. So it's like Law and Order, the anime, but this guy who was really good. He was a really good high school detective. He got shot with this dart and it turned him into a little kid. And so for like 30 seasons, he's still a little kid, but he's this amazing detective. And it's just like some of them are 2 parts. So they like go to like a party, somebody dies, and then they got to figure out everything. By the end of it, they explain everything that happened. You're like, oh, they're so smart. This is so good. So I love a good murder mystery.
Huh. I have to check that out. Have you seen Devilman Crybaby on Netflix?
No, I heard I need to watch it. I didn't think that it was a real thing because of the name.
Yeah, it's the real thing.
I was like, Devilman Crybaby does not sound real at all.
It's because he's always crying because he's committing so much violence. Yeah, he's like a really sensitive dude, but he has to murder, and he cries because of it. But it's these beautiful demons he's killing, but he has to do it because
no way. I might have to.
Yeah, see, there we go. Now we got
it. I'm gonna write that one.
Have you seen the one? I cannot remember the name of it, but I saw like an ad for it. But there was like a 45-second like ad, and it looked like it's high school kids playing some sort of game where you put your finger in a guillotine, and it's like a Russian roulette but with a guillotine. So if you get chopped, you lose a finger.
Oh wow!
It looked awesome. I'm very much into dark animes.
Yeah. So then you're gonna like Devilman Crybaby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a what is it? It's the one where you write the names in the book.
Oh, Death Note.
Death Note, yeah.
Kind of. It's basically the premise behind Devilman Crybaby is that there's demons living among us, like hidden as people. And this demon infects this guy who's just like an innocent, sweet kid, and then he gets infected with this demon, but for some reason he can control the demon. So as everybody else, like when they get infected with the demon, they become the demon. He ends up being able to harness this demon's powers. And he's basically it's his mission to kill all the other demons.
So he has to do it, but he hates it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. It becomes a really well executed like piece on like intolerance and like learning to communicate with other people over disagreements rather than just like killing everybody.
Yeah.
But like the animation style is crazy. They have this. Everything's always set to like this weird like driving like house techno beat. Like when anything's getting really bloody and violent, it's just like doof, 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 like in the background, and it's like this weird great pairing that you get with the music and the animation. But yeah, it's also one of those things where at like I think there's like 10 or 12 episodes. Just a quick side tangent. I was watching this on the airplane when I was coming back from my honeymoon with me and my wife. There's lots of boobs and lots of blood, and like we're sitting there, we have to like hide my iPad so that like that's why the dad is walking
the
by.
Family behind you.
It's like, what are you watching?
Little kid just like, oh.
Yeah.
That got me so, okay, I was big into Jackie Chan movies when we would go to Blockbuster. So the way that our Blockbuster was set up, when like the martial arts movies ended, anime started. That's how I got into anime, because I finished watching all those movies, and the first thing was Akira.
Oh,
You just walked a little too far down the aisle.
Yeah.
dude, Akira, what a good like starting.
Incredible. But
anime.
like for like an 11-year-old, and that was the first time like when I saw like boobs drawn, I was like,
Yep. I mean, that's Ninja Scroll.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Ninja Scroll. My God, just the scene when the person walks in to talk to the guy and he's busy.
Yeah.
I'm watching that as like 11-year-old, like, what is happening? This is, I can just watch this? This is cartoons now? But like, for my parents, like, they didn't know. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, he's just watching Japanese cartoons. I'm like, ha ha, ha, yes I am. That's all it is, mom and dad. But yeah, Akira is what really hooked me in.
I gotta show you my Kaneda styled one wheel. So I have a one wheel, and I stylized it like Kaneda's motorcycle. I replicated all the stickers and everything, put them on the top. Yeah.
Please, I need to see this.
Well, once the podcast is over.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Just to tell a random story. So you're talking about that being on the airplane watching it. So do you guys watch Steven Universe? Okay, so Steven Universe is yeah, I'll say it. Steven Universe might be Steven Universe is the greatest animated show of all time. I will say that.
Okay. Wow.
I know. Hot take.
Hot take.
Thank you. And I say that because whether you are a child, a teenager, or an adult, Steven Universe will hit you somewhere, and it will hit you very hard. So it's the story of this kid, and he lives with these like 3 like alien women essentially, and his mom is gone. His dad's still around. His dad is a human. I don't want to spoil it. Let me say. Okay, so he's finding things out about his mom as you go along, but he's a little kid. He's like 8 or 9, I think. And as he's finding things out, you as an adult watching this realize, oh my God, he doesn't have the chance to actually be with his mom, but he finds these things out about himself and his mother's friends and about his dad through these things that his mom left him that will become so important to him as he moves into adulthood. So like that hits you as an adult, but as a kid, you're watching these things and you're learning these lessons. Because remember how like DuckTales and stuff, Darkwing Duck, it's the only show that taught you how to manage time while being a superhero and a single dad. What? So essentially you translate that. How do you hold a job and be a single dad? As a kid, you watch that, you say, oh, he's really stressed, but he's trying his best. So as a kid, you go, oh, dad's really stressed, but he's trying his best. As an adult, you go, oh, this is what the kid is feeling. So like you're getting something out of it. Steven Universe is the same thing for kids all the way up to adults. But to get to the point, I was watching an episode on the plane, and I'm sitting there with my phone. I got my headphones in, and there's an episode where he obtains like this video of his mom, and she's talking to him, giving him like this very like heartfelt message. And the way that's written, it's not written like to make you feel these emotions or to make you cry. It's just written in like a real way. And so I'm watching this, and I am losing it. Like I'm not like a little bit crying. I'm like,
Are you in the middle seat too?
no, I'm on the edge of the window. But I'm like, like I'm crying loud on like an international flight, loud. And so the woman next to me, she taps me. She goes, "Are you okay?" Because like my phone's kind of turned everywhere you can see it. She's like, "Are you okay?" And her daughter, I don't know how old she was, maybe early teens. She goes, "Mom, he's watching Steven Universe. You wouldn't get it."
No way.
And I was like, "Thank you." And then I looked at her and she goes, "It's the tape episode." And I was like, "It's the tape episode." God, it's so good. It's so good.
Man, that girl saved you.
Oh, 100%.
I'm gonna have to check it out now.
You got
me hooked.
If there's anything that I recommend, it's Steven Universe. Like I cried when I met the woman who made it. Oh, because I wasn't ready to meet her. I turned around, she was right there, and instantly I started crying. She's like the embodiment of.
Didn't she get her start
love.
with Adventure Time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very good. Just like people with good hearts makes me feel good about stuff.
Yeah.
That's good.
So wholesome. This is the most wholesome podcast.
This has been the most wholesome. Well, let's
What usually happens?
like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's. I got a rounding out question here.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're a professional wrestler. Can I call you a professional gamer?
You
Do
can
you
call
make
me
money playing video games?
I do.
So
Then you're a professional
yes.
gamer.
But okay.
Well,
fair.
let me rephrase.
Fair.
Let me rephrase. You have a successful YouTube channel where part of what you do is play games on that
Yes,
channel.
I actually need a name for this. I want to be like a video game promoter. That's
First ever.
yeah. There we go. That sounds good.
So that leads into my question. I mean, it seems like, you growing up, you had these two childhood dreams: video games, wrestling. You made time for them. You put the work into them. You contributed something new to the sport that you're in to get to where you are. So what's next for you? What do you, in an ideal universe, what would you like to do next?
So I've like half talked about this and I can't fully talk about it because it's like hopefully coming to fruition at some point. We're in the creating a pitch phase.
Okay.
There is a TV show that we're trying to create that would be very beneficial for people who enjoy video games. And I can't really talk about it because if I do, someone with more means will steal the idea and then I'll have to go to jail.
Right.
Because I will fight them. But that's what's next. A video game related television show that will hopefully be on a cool network.
That'd be cool.
And that's what I will say about that.
That's awesome.
All right. There's these sly looks happening while you're alluding to what's happening here.
Do you have anything else, Niko, that you wanna jump on here?
Yeah, I just want to jump on the fact that we never said One Punch Man was really good and talking about anime.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
That season 2 is coming out in like 2 months.
What really got me about that was that last fight. Because like, even though he's like fighting, he's still like, it's the same thing. Like you think like, oh man, he's met his match. Like, no.
One punch.
No, he hasn't. Just hit him once.
Yep. Okay, cool. That's all I have to say. It's been on my mind for like about 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta say One Punch Man at some point.
No, Austin, I mean, it's been an honor having you on. Thanks for coming on the show.
I
And
appreciate you guys
you're
having
an
me.
inspiration
Yeah.
to many. So keep doing it and keep doing the good work, man. I can't wait to see what you do next.
I'm gonna try. We'll see if anything.
It'll be
I'm
something.
very confident that things will go well.
It'll be
Well,
something.
thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
You bet. And just want to remind people, up, down, down on YouTube. Check out Austin's gaming channel. And your Twitch is...
Twitch.tv/Austin Creed.
There it
And
is.
if you want to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Xavier Woods, PhD, do that. Follow me on all social media accounts. Follow me on all accounts. Do it. Do it now.
Subscribe to our channel too, please.
Yes, subscribe here. Subscribe to this, and you meet more sweet people. Well, I say more. That's if you thought I was a sweet person. You'll meet sweet people, not me, if you didn't think I was sweet. Thank you for listening to
Just watching
this.
Steven Universe, you guys wouldn't get it. All
All
right.
right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Once again, huge thanks to Austin for coming out on the Corridor Cast. If you guys haven't seen him on SmackDown, I would definitely recommend it. Also on YouTube at Up, Down, Down, or on Twitch. So just huge thanks. What a great dude, and had a ton of fun talking to him. Again, if you guys aren't subscribed to the Corridor Cast, I would highly recommend it. We release these episodes every week, and they are free, and they always will be.